Hi, everybody. My name is Howard Forder, and we're here for the Windows 10 WOW session. I see a lot of you are connected. You finally got your audio going, and I've got a Windows 10 box here that I can play with now. So let's get started. We only got about 30 minutes to jump in and see what this is all about. Let me give you a little bit of a video here just to see who I am. There I am. So let's go take a look at this. I deliver IT training courses and all kinds of first looks courses for Microsoft, and this is no exception. Here we got Windows 10, and I want to share with you the excitement that I've had playing with this product and seeing where it's going. A month from now, you'll have it in your hands, so might as well see what it's all about before you get it. I know some of you will wait, but there is a window there of a free upgrade, so we want to go see what that's all about. My background is with SharePoint, Exchange, and all the flavors of Windows. And I've been doing this for quite a few years, and Train Canada, I'm happy to present and honored to present with them on this session. Let's go see what the lineup is all about. Here we've got the major announcements, which is the bulk of the session. I've put together all the major things that are different. Now, all of us use Windows all the time, so it's not that let's go see the basic stuff, but we do want to look at comparisons. In an IT course, we'll look at comparisons of everything. We'll go right down to individual files and where things are located and new initiatives and architecture and all that. But here in this session, I just want to look at the major things that would make someone want to move to this on a consumer device. And we want to see what that's all about. So the major announcements make up 3 or 4 things, and in there I'll also do the live demo as I go along. At some point along the way, we'll talk about something called Universal Windows and Apps. You see that here in the second bullet. Universal Windows and Universal Apps are a huge initiative that they started with Windows 8.1, and Microsoft's learning from other systems that are out there. And you'll see me reference that throughout the session where I talk about the competition is doing this, we better do it too. So you're going to see that with Windows 10. And there'll be some things in there you'll say, I think they got that feature from a Mac. I think they got that feature from another browser. So you're going to see that kind of thing as we go along. So keep watch, see if you can find those things as we go along. And there's our first look at Windows 10 right there on the screen snap. And you'll see that it's a mixture of Windows 7 and Windows 8, the best of both. But you'll also see some Windows Phone in there too, for those of you who've seen Windows Phone before. So we're talking about the best of 3 worlds. That's what we're going to see here. So the live demo will happen. I'll go to my laptop. I've got a Windows 10 laptop standing by. You can see on the participant list, and that way you can see what's happening there. Now, we do have some people in the room also, and I want you guys to say hi and just say who you are. And oh, you're not going to say hi and who you are. Okay, there's too big a crowd, but anyway, there they are. Now, not so loud, you guys. There's a microphone right nearby. So thanks a lot. And when you see the types of classrooms that we work in, this is the sort of thing that we have. And what we want to do is we just want to make sure that you get the best of what's happening with Windows 10 in this session. That's what we're going to go look at now. At the end, we're going to have a couple of slides on server products and something, server products, just to give you an idea of what's happening with that. There are some of you in the crowd that are IT and you want to hear more about that. There's an interesting part here that I've added in, and I actually have a video at the end of the session to talk about this, something that's affectionately called IoT, Internet of Things. And that's something that Microsoft didn't invent, but they now have Windows 10 that can manage those devices. So that's an important part, and I want to talk about that too. And then at the very end, you'll see we have questions and answers, and that'll be about a 15-minute at the end that we can add in there. And anyone who has questions, also, you could send my email address some of these questions that you have. All right, the first announcement out of a few here, I just want to mention this. This Windows 10, as we've seen it evolve, has been shown to programmers at the Build conference in the fall. And, they have to know what needs to be done to start working toward it. It's also been shown to, January was when this statement was made, Windows 10 will be able to run and everything. And the recent Ignite conference in May, in Chicago, and that was, and this has evolved now into a mature product ready to roll, and that's what I'm going to show you. Mine's still a preview edition, but it's build 10130 for those of you who care. But in a month it'll be live and it'll be real, so you're going to see the whole thing. Now, the whole idea of running on everything, I just want to elaborate on that. You can see in this picture alone, and I've picked this picture specifically because the very first one you see here is an Xbox device. It gets the bigger screen because it's usually your entertainment device, or it's included with your entertainment device in in the viewing room or the sitting room of your house. You notice beside it is a typical desktop, a typical modern desktop today. All of these things are running Windows 10. Here we see a Surface tablet with a detachable keyboard. Here we see other types of tablets. And I know Lenovo is big on this too. We're involved in training some of their people and their reps to be able to do all of this. Let me just adjust that because it was actually covering some of the other cameras that we have here. We also notice here any other type of device, phablets, phones, and little tiny circuit boards. So when we talk about little tiny circuit boards, what I want to do is I just want to show you, over here I have, let me use this camera. Over here I have a picture of a Raspberry Pi device. Now this is a circuit board, as you can see by the size of it. It's not very big. And this thing is, some of you have heard about the Raspberry Pi from the fellow from Cambridge in England, who built this so that kids can do more programming. And the whole idea behind it was that kids will be, start having programming as a fun thing and get them more into programming before they end up at Cambridge. And anyway, huge endeavor. This thing just went, almost like a viral product, if you want to call it that. Went huge. And they thought their initial run was 1,000 and ended up being 10,000 the first release, and then from then on something like 5,000 a week. So these things are everywhere. And the point I'm making is that this little circuit board that you see here is what I just showed you. And this little circuit board is related to the Internet of Things. And it's called Windows 10 for IoT. And so that's what's happening there. And I got a bit of that at the end of the session too. So, as wow as that is, there's some of us who will never get to that, never touch that, never work with that. But we will work with something else. And the whole idea is any device. Now you notice up here also we have this 82-inch 4K TV called the Surface Hub. I got a slide on it later. We'll talk about that, what it is. But again, that's also running Windows 10. So in this diagram, it's running on everything. Now the questions come up, what do you mean everything, Howard? Every single device I've ever had? So, you want to be able to qualify that as we go along. But you get the idea that it's running on every device, and it's all your apps that you bought, and it's your configuration and your settings. And if you change something on your phone, you can see it also change on the desktop. That whole ecosystem, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. So that's the first one. And with that first one, I just want to know what you think about that. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but it was a very weak applause in the room here. But, I agree. That's probably something you already knew. Let's go to another announcement. How about this? The release date. Some of you have heard this already, so when I first put this in the slide, I had just heard it. It just came over the wire, and I inserted it into my slide deck. But you notice in here, I'm just doing a quick check here on my monitor. You notice in here it says July 29th will be released en masse to all of us, right? If we're already running Windows 7 and above. Now, don't get nervous about this. It doesn't mean it just happens. You have to ask for it. All right. Now, this is the part that's confusing to many people. You notice this? I got the sidebar that says a free upgrade is available for 12 months. Now, when you make that kind of statement, okay, people think that I get it for free and then I got to pay at the end of 12 months. That's what they're thinking. I got to add a credit card now and they'll use it later. So don't be nervous about that. That doesn't happen at all. What's really happening here is that you're getting it in the next 12 months. They're offering a window of free upgrade for all of us running Windows 7 and above. They're honoring the current code base, or they're honoring the current install base, and they're saying all participants who already have Windows, by all means, move to 10. It's better for you. All right? And there's no cost afterwards. After 12 months, if you want to upgrade, then you have to buy the upgrade, either in place or with media. All right? So to make this happen, and they've really given this a lot of thought, on your taskbar, you'll notice that there's a new flag on there, on your Windows 7 taskbar. And some of you are looking at that right now going, gee, how did Howard know? I'm looking right through the camera right now at your screen. And at the bottom of the screen, now here's a Windows 7 desktop that I'm broadcasting for the moment. Just to show you this, I'm showing you, here's my Get Windows 10 live, right, at the very bottom. Do you see that popping up? And with the Windows 10 live, what they're doing is they're giving us the opportunity to reserve. All right, so we're reserving it. And this is what pops up right here. And it says, reserve your free upgrade to Windows 10 now. It will download once available, and you can cancel your reservation at any time. And you have to actually click reserve and give it an email address. So that's how it knows you have a reservation now. It will download it in the background by July 29th, and you can install it anytime after that. Okay, so you can wait till, I think I'll wait till August and see what people are saying. and then I'll actually install it. So it won't automatically put it on, and you pick when you can have it. All right? So keep that in mind. I hope that reassures a lot of people to get Windows 10 Initiative and how it works. All right, so let's get to the major announcement about the operating system itself, the Edge browser. Now, the Edge browser was formerly known as Project Spartan, and even in my demonstration, you're going to see that I have, it actually says Spartan right in the browser. All right, this is really a new browser. It's faster and leaner and more useful than IE. You know, IE gets bogged down with so many plugins, etc., and we have troubles with it. So this is, and I said I would mention competitors. Microsoft looks at feedback from you and I. It looks at competitive products. And this has always been the case with IE. IE's always been looking at the other browsers all through the years. And I was writing about the browser wars 15 years ago. You know, so here we are again, browsers looking at other browsers and saying, wait a second, Firefox and Chrome are really fast. So how did they do that? And that's what they did from the ground up. They built this Edge browser and under Project Spartan. So it's faster and leaner, and it's better, and that's what we're going to see happen. Now, in my preview edition, when you see me doing this on my beta machine, you'll see sometimes that Cortana will pull up information in an Edge browser and then say, this can't be rendered, and it sends me to IE. So IE is still there in my preview edition. We're waiting to see what will happen as it does the final release. And it's a protected mode IE, so you know that causes some people some grief with some of their applications. All right, so one of the things that are cool about this browser is, first of all, we can write on it. All right, so right in the Spartan browser, I decide this page I'm on right now, and we connect to a lot of things now from a browser, from email to websites, you know, all the things. We can write things on it. We can annotate. We can highlight. We can do all that. And I'm going to do that in a demonstration. It's one of the things I want to show you. All right, save it for later reading. You know, they've seen this in other browsers, and here we have it here too, reader mode. And what that does, it gets rid of all the rest of the HTML stuff that's all around us. And what it does, it just makes it available with the content that you have so that it reads well in a tablet or just reads well on your screen. It's just simpler and cleaner. And it's saved, of course, for reading later. Send it to your friends. I mean, the writing part you'll send to your friends. Cortana can use it. Just click on the icon and away you go. So the browser is one major thing that we were talking about. That's a major change that Microsoft has done. Next, I'd like to talk about the next major announcement, which happens to be the multiple desktops. Yeah, and I see a lot of you smiling when I do that. So here we have Richie Fang. He's the User Experience Program Manager at Microsoft, and he's mentioned in here, I've just put his quote right in here. He heard us loud and clear that we wanted to have some way to move Windows across desktops. So this multiple desktops idea, and I'll give you an insight to what that looks like. It's this icon on our taskbar. And multiple desktops, we've been doing this for years in other products. Those of you who come from a Mac background will know that we've had multiple virtual desktops for years. So that's what it's really called. It's a virtual desktop, and we can have as many of these as we want. True multitasking, similar to multiple computers. We've got the power now. Our machines are multi-core, super powerful, and we're not even using them half as much as we could. Now we can with multiple desktops. You will get creative about what you would need on each desktop. Different apps. You know, you could have one desktop that has accounting stuff because I'm doing spreadsheet analysis and all. I have another desktop that has my web browser and my email. Another desktop that has things for work. You know, so you're going to find a reason to do this. So it isn't just the multitasking Alt tab. It's actually multiple virtual desktops. So here's an example. You know, in this case, it says go from this clutter to a bunch of desktops. Now this is the beta build back here, and I'm going to show you a new build right now. But here's multiple desktops here with different apps running in them, and here is one of the desktops with 3 apps running in it. All right, and we can use standard Windows control keys to move back and forth between them and to spawn and to delete them. You know, so we can do that. Here's an example. I just put this in recently. Here's the demo machine I'm going to be showing you in a minute. And here's 2 desktops I've got. That's just 2 desktops. And the one that's highlighted shows me the apps that are running. And I can grab an app and put it into the other desktop, which is really cool. And I can add as many more desktops as I want right here. All right? And that's the icon that you would be looking for right there. All right? You get an idea what that's all about. So that's the multiple desktops feature. I'd say that was a lukewarm applause because, you know, some of you already have that. So, like, I could see the look on your face. I saw one of you going like this, right? It's like, we already have that, Howard. So let's take a look at the next announcement, the major announcement. Now, this is not really something new. I mean, this was Windows 8.1. We've been doing this, where in 8.1 we had apps that run on your PC, but apps that also run on your mobile, and same code, and they ran on both. So it's not something new. Microsoft knew from looking at other ecosystems. I call them ecosystems because they're more than one piece that put it all together. You buy an app for one device and then it shows up on the other device. Or you go to buy it on the other device, it says you already purchased this, just download it. That kind of idea. Universal applications and then universal Windows platform. Now, it isn't just PC and mobile, as you can see here. It's actually Surface Hub that I talked about, the Xbox briefly I talked about, and the IoT devices. And this is important that we have these number of platforms that we can have Windows 10 running on. That means the apps will also run on them. Bottom line, developers love this because they only have to make the app once, and then it can be used on all their devices. That's a beautiful thing. And in here I say Windows 10 goes far beyond because it's not just the two devices anymore. It's all of them, and that's beautiful. You see down here, they also talk about some natural, adaptive user interface depending on the type of device. They see natural user inputs on whatever the device is that you're using, whether it be touch or voice, etc. And then one software development kit and tooling to make this all happen. And it saves programmers a lot of work. So they've been excited about this for almost a year now. They've been working with this sort of idea, and many of them have been working with it since 8.1. So that's a beautiful thing, and that's called the Universal Apps and the Universal Windows Platform. All right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, yeah, I just threw this in lately. So here's an example. Sorry, guys. Hold the applause. Here's an example of multiple devices, as I mentioned, but also seeing it on a phone. Some of you have never seen a Windows phone. I understand that. On my Windows phone, same idea is that we have the same tiles that we saw in Windows 8.1. So if right up until Windows 10, I mean, we had Windows 8.1 on our phone and on the desktop, and the apps were interchangeable, same code. We didn't make separate code for that, and it's a smaller screen and a smaller tile. The same code ran on both, all right? And so this was very successful, Windows 8.1, and they moved that into Windows 10. Now, one of the things you're asking is, wait a second, I don't have Windows 8, Howard, and it wasn't very successful for me. I understand that, and so does Microsoft. And I taught lots of Windows 8 courses for support courses for IT, but as we saw in the field, IT were pretty much the only ones running it. Mainly because that whole desktop and then Metro or, modern interface and Windows apps and desktop, and yeah, it was a pain. So they've helped change that. Oh, before I go to the next one. So they've helped change that so that we get the best of both worlds, and I'm going to say the best of all three. You probably won't see that in any other videos, but the best of all three worlds. The best of phone, I'll talk about that when we get to the desktop. The best of the desktop, the best of the Windows apps that we saw there, and the universal apps they're calling it now. So we're going to go see that in action. All right, the next major announcement, and then we'll transition right to a live demo, and this is Cortana. Now, Cortana's been around on our phones. We had this on Windows Phone. We got used to it. We know what to expect from it. It's refined. On my Windows 10 Preview Edition, it's unpredictable. Sometimes it says things to me, sometimes it sends me to a browser. But I'm going to demo it live anyway. We'll see what happens. So what I like about it is that it's your personal digital assistant. The whole idea is Cortana talks to me, all right? I ask it questions. Now, on a phone, this was very important because your phone is sitting in the cradle in the car. You don't want it in your face. You don't want to be looking at it, and you don't want to be interacting with your fingers and whatever else. So in a car, it works really well. Hey, Cortana, take a note. Hey, Cortana, what's on my schedule? Move my schedule, all kinds of things. Can you find me how to get to 63 3rd Street? Like all these things that we ask. Now, it's similar, the competition, again, here's the third time I'm talking about competition, competes with Siri, and it competes with Google now. And of course, a lot of us are used to these things on those different devices. In here, now I'll have to teach the support stuff for this, so I'll have to have people understand how it really works. But here right now, I'm just going to talk about the fact that it's using the search index that we've had since, I don't know how far back, but Vista for sure, Windows 7 for sure for most of us. And the whole idea is using that data that's already been indexed on your computer that we normally would just search for. And you saw in Windows 7, as an example here, when you hit the start button, you've got search right away. All right, and I could search for something on my screen in Windows 7, and without even pressing enter, it's already starting to find stuff. Okay, and that's actually very good. I mean, that's Windows 7 in action. In Windows 8, you just do it right on the Windows 8 screen. You just start typing, and it works. It looks for anything, files and folders and programs and anything inside your emails. So this is the same thing, only now it's more convenient, and it's done with a natural interface, this Cortana interface. And that's what we're going to go look at in a second. If it doesn't know an answer, it sends you to the web with a search already done, which is pretty cool. And it talks in a natural voice. Now, what I like about it is the natural voice is so good, it doesn't even sound like a robot. Most of them do. You know, most of them is like, this does not mean anything to me. You know, and you look at that, I know some of you are going to play that back a few times, right? When you go back to the recording. But the point is that it doesn't sound like that. It sounds natural, and it's amazing. That technology impresses me. The second thing that impressed me about Cortana, first of all, how useful it is, but second thing, it can actually sing too. When you want to hear how good a voice is, let it sing. You know, and some of you are saying, not me, Howard. But the whole point is that when you hear someone sing, you hear the inflections, you hear the vibrato. And when that comes through in a singing song from Cortana, you go, how did they do that? So for me, that's a wow factor. All right, I really like that one too. We summon Cortana by simply saying, hey, Cortana. Now, I'll show you when we get to the demo in now another few seconds. I'll show you how we can change the privacy settings so that, well, we could turn off the Hey Cortana so it never responds. We have to just click the icon, you know, the microphone icon. Or we could go in and tell it what it shouldn't know about. I don't want it knowing this about me. I don't want it knowing that. I don't want it looking in emails. And some people are worried about that. Not a worry, okay? We want to go see that in action. And we can reduce that amount of information that it knows. So that's Cortana. Let's go take a look at it in action. One of the things, you know, I'm going to ask a couple of these questions, you know, play my music, and it would start Windows Media Player. What's the weather like in whatever city? And it pulls up Bing weather for that, or it even says it to you, which is really nice. Show me top headlines. I've even tried please be quiet, and it stops the music. Take note. Now, this worked on my phone. It doesn't work here in the preview edition because I don't think I have it hooked in somehow, but I got to go play with that. But that can be done. Open camera works. Sing me a song. Now, it did sing You Are My Sunshine at one point, even on this preview edition. And now when I ask it to sing me a song, it goes right to a browser and says, sing me a song, and it finds me a song. So I got to play some more with that. Tell me a joke. Well, okay. And I had to really think about the last one it told me. So we'll try those things, all right? So let's go check it out. Let's go see what's happening now. Let's go see some features shown live. All right, so it wasn't in a shared position, so now it is. Now you should still be able to hear me just fine. And I'm just going to move over to this desktop. This is the standard desktop that we have. Now you saw this in my screen snap, but now you see it here live. And what I'm showing you is, this is the picture I took in Rome, but I like that desktop, so I'm going to leave it on there. But you can pick other desktops, of course, like we know. So what I want to show you now is first just get a feel for it, and then we'll start talking to Cortana, and then we'll do we'll just try and keep it short. But I want to show the layout first of all, and I've used this camera because you can see the screen, plus you can see in the camera. I haven't done a face shot camera. So what we see down the bottom of the screen here, now to make WebEx work, I had to actually I've had to do some testing with other browsers. And this is here for performance testing. There should be a Chrome browser in there too, but let's go take a look at a couple of things. Now, down at the bottom of the screen here, here's first of all the start button. Okay, no applause for that, eh? All right, so here's the start button. And so on the start button, the whole point of this is that we're seeing that it has the best of all three worlds. Now, let me explain what that means. We see on the left side of the screen here the most used, the recently added, a couple things like File Explorer. You notice down here on the left side, Settings, which is like Control Panel, and the power stuff, and all the things that and then the All Apps. So now, first of all, I'm just showing you this. This is the default screen right here. The normal things I use are the most recently used things. On the right side, you see the Windows 8 apps. All of these are Windows 8 apps, all right? Or now what we're properly calling universal apps, universal applications. And you can scroll that, of course, separately, all right? So that's cool. I like this because it gives us these apps, plus it gives us Windows 7, plus it gives us a desktop, plus if you go to the All Apps, it gives it to you in alphabetical order. This was equivalent to the phone, the Windows Phone swiping to the right. or I should say swiping to the left, which was the right screen, you know, that sort of thing. And it gave you alphabetical of all your applications. So we've actually got the best of 3 worlds here: phone, 7, and 8, and 8.1. So I want to show you a couple things now. The next thing, now that's just the start menu. If I use that start menu on a tablet and I remove the keyboard, then you would do something like this. Now this is an HP Ultrabook, so I can't really pull the keyboard off, but I can show you what that would look like. If I pulled the keyboard off at this moment on a tablet, there's the screen that I would get. So it takes it back to what's called tablet mode. This was really part of the design of Windows 8, was to make this into a tablet mode, a big tile for your fingers kind of screen. Because now you don't have a mouse and a keyboard, and now you have to scroll with your fingers and use something, you know, here I've got my finger on the screen doing that and trying to resize and do other things with it. But the point here is that this is while it's in tablet mode, maybe while you're in reading mode on your browser. But what I want to do is put it, you know, attach my keyboard back in. So to simulate that, I'll just go back and change it back from tablet mode, and it's the same as what would normally happen. No, what would normally happen is now I have my screen the way it should be. And I got a bunch of stuff open from what I was doing. So now I see on my desktop, I must have switched desktops. I got another one here. So now I see down at the bottom, that's the start menu, and it's the best of all 3. And when we say the best of all 3, it's the best of phone, 7, and 8. What do you think about that? Okay, so let's go take a look at some more things down here. Now we're going to come back to this. This is Cortana, where it says Ask Me Anything. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's start next with the browser. Let's just take the Spartan browser and open that up. Where to next? And it opens up to a standard news kind of screen, and away we go from there. All right, so you can see there are tabs up here and the normal things we expect. But look over here. We see the normal hub, they call it now, which is for your favorites, your reading list, your history, and your downloads. So it's the hub of all the things you need to do. But we also notice in here that we have a little make a web note. Oh, that's kind of neat. And make a web note, you know, can I use the word neat? Make a web note, we get to this screen here where you pick the pen that you're going to use. Now my pen here is a medium-sized red. I'm going to use that to point out some things. Now maybe this was a screen that we're talking about at work. You know, it happens to be headlines right now, but maybe we're talking about this at work. And we say, all right, this one right here, this, all right, just take that. I'm going to highlight some things first, like that. And it's still working in normal browser mode. See? Just like that. Where did my Spartan go? I switched desktops without even knowing. All right, back to writing mode. Yeah, I've been changing screens too much here. All right, so what we want to do is do some highlights of some things that are already happening. And, you know, we can go to a website like Microsoft.com. Let's go here to the Edge. And you can see this. Here's an example of them using the Edge in action. And again, let's do that. My default is that red one. And I want to do the same what they're doing. I want to highlight stuff. So, you know, I'm going to put a line under there. I'm going to do some doodles. I'm going to use my finger now and put a happy face on there. You know, and you can see from the camera, and this is one of the reasons I turned the camera on, is so you can see the screen being broadcast, but you can also see that I'm using my fingers to do this. I'm going to hit the highlighter now, and I'm just going to highlight this. I think that's an important part. The web is your canvas. And the highlighter, of course, has different highlights that you have in there. And we can also pick up some other things to do some notes. All right, now I'm using my finger for this. I do have a capacitive device that I can use, but you know, it makes it a lot easier to do it that way. I can use my mouse if you wish and do it really tiny. And I could zoom in with the normal zoom in, do a note and zoom out, and that's probably what a lot of people will do. But it would be because you want to do something different. All right, and you know, you want to do something different that's on the page. You might want to talk about sales figures. You might want to make some notes on the side. You might want to make some scribbles. You could, you know, put all those things in, and you could also add some text if you wish to. I'm going to add a text box here. You know, that sort of thing. So that's what we're talking about. And a lot of you will see this interface looks a lot like OneNote, and it also has the same color scheme as OneNote. So you know, that's just my observation at the moment. on how we can write on the screen. Now you notice up here there's a share button, there's also a save button, and when you save it, it's saving it as your favorites or saving it in your reading list. All right, I'm going to put it into my reading list so I can read it later. All right, and then I'm going to exit from editing the page. So this whole idea of writing on the screen, you'll get a more creative person demoing this better, but you can see the idea that they're showing you here. A person's using a capacitive pen on a tablet or on an ultrabook like the Surface, you know, and people will get very creative with what they're doing here. You could even start with, you know, a blank page. So if I just type in here about blank, as many of us do, and we start with a blank browser and then say, well, let's start with that. Wouldn't that work? And, you know, now you can write all you want. And you've got, you know, I could play some more. I'm not going to do much more with this because I'm not a very creative person, as many of you know already. I could divide this screen and then say, okay, over here, I'm going to write something different. You know, over here, I'm going to put the pros. And over here, I'm going to put the cons, you know, and then I'm going to start writing stuff on both sides. You know, I mean, I can use it as a whiteboard, and that's handy too. I'm going to find that very handy in the classroom, using it as a whiteboard. But, you know, that's just giving you an idea. In this small session, this short session, I can't elaborate too much more. And as you can tell, I'm not that great at drawing anyway. So I really like that part. So that's the, you know, the Edge browser. I didn't go too far into what you can do with it, but it loaded fast, and it let me edit, and it's as lean and clean as the rest of them. All right, the next part I want to talk about is the multiple desktops. Down here, the icon in the lower part, I click on it, and those are the icons I have running on desktop 2, and here are the icons I have running on desktop 1. Now, I could say, when I'm on this screen, oh, I want this WebEx one. This is the WebEx browser one. I want that over in the other desktop. You notice it's in desktop 1, so I'm going to take it from here and just pull it over to there. And I didn't have enough mouse space for my mouse here. I got a little tiny mouse space. All right, let's grab this one. So I'm grabbing the calculator, and I'm going to put it over into desktop 2, or this one here. Calculator, and over you go. Here's trying to grab the top. And you got to put it over here. Now it's in desktop 1. Let's put it in desktop 2. And you notice that you can just go back and forth. Which one do I want it in? All right. And then I go back to desktop 2 and grab that calculator. Again, I just go like this. Grab the calculator. Now I made the mistake of trying to grab it by its title up here with the normal way to move it around in normal desktop. But in multiple desktop mode, you grab the whole icon and move it to another one. And in it goes. All right, so that's pretty cool. I also want to show you on this particular desktop, and I only had 2 of them running. Take a look on this desktop. You notice I have 3D maps. Now that's not really smooth on your screen. I'm just looking over at your screen. But what I do want to point out is, oh, this is the city of Toronto where we're at right now. And what I want to find is, where is City Hall? And if I look over here, check this out. Right through, oh, let's go in there. There's City Hall. I see it now. And just over City Hall, if you look down here, hey, look at that. Let's just zoom into that. There's Train Canada headquarters right there at Bay and Dundas. All right, so that's pretty cool. I like that. That has got to be the coolest app that I've ever seen. Yeah, that's just built in, you know. That's the 3D maps. Now, while I'm here, I mean, I didn't want to just show off the 3D functionality. You know, there should be a CN Tower there, too, somewhere. Let's come back out to the lakefront here. Ah, there it is. Can we even see the top of it? There it is. So, you know, the point I want to make is that here we see in an app. This is a universal app, everybody. I want to show you this part. You see up here they have this new icon. It says menu, but you know what we're all calling it? We're all calling it the hamburger icon. It's a hamburger icon. And that has all your settings. You notice? Hey, there's all the stuff. But it's got the smaller version right here, all right? And you notice in here, I just went into here to change it to a 3D cities, all right? And then you can pick it from there. There's some settings down here also. You're going to see this kind of format show up now, all right? That format. Beautiful. I like it. All right, so that's the multiple desktop feature. Let's go look at one other thing. Let's see. I've got PowerPoint running, the notifications, normal things that are over here. So actually, I just want to go and talk to Cortana for now. So let's see if she's listening anyway. Hey, Cortana. What's the weather like in Toronto?
Right now,
That's good to hear. Now, I brought my microphone close so that you could hear it coming out of the little laptop speakers. You know, I could have put better speakers on there to show you, but hey, it's coming out of a phone or it's coming out of a laptop, so that's what we're showing you here. Hey, Cortana, are you a boy or a girl?
Well, technically, I'm a cloud of infinitesimal data computation.
I kind of expected that. But, you know, what I'm seeing over here is that you can see some more, again, universal app format, and you can see some of the things that you can do here. All right, and you go to settings, and you can turn on and off everything. You can turn Cortana completely off. You can say, I don't want to respond with, hey, Cortana. And you can say all the other things. Learn about me from communications, from email, text, etc. And you can say no to that too. So keep that in mind, all right? It isn't scary because some people love this. And others are saying, wait a second, all right? So you pick what works for you, all right? And that's how we do it. So let's come back. Hey, Cortana, play me a song.
Okay, shuffling your music.
All right, now, I don't know if I have any music, but you see how it's got me right to the music player, and it's going to shuffle my music collection. Now, this is a machine I keep formatting and playing and, you know, different builds, so I don't have any music in there yet, but you get the idea. Now, I just clicked on it this time, and it just says, go ahead and tell me to do something. Hey, Cortana, can you sing? And look what it did. It took me to a website that says, can you sing? Oh, I didn't like that. That's not what I'm after. All right, so I don't want to play with that too often or too long, but hey, Cortana, can you sing me a song?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Hey, Cortana, sing me a song. It's not going to sing today. See, even that's temperamental. All right, let's try this. Hey, Cortana, tell me a joke.
Two goldfish are in a tank. One turns to the other and says, do you know how to drive this thing?
Now, I do wonder where she gets her jokes from. So, so there's a lot of things we can do there. I guess we're not going to hear her sing today, but you get the idea, everybody. So that's a few things that I wanted to show you in here. And Cortana was one of them. Now, you could do normal things like, hey, Cortana, PowerPoint 2016. Wow. And it takes me to a web page. All right, I didn't say it right. Hey, Cortana, start PowerPoint.
Okay, opening PowerPoint 2016 preview.
Now, you see, I wanted to make sure you guys saw something productive there because the rest of it's just fun, just plain fun. But why not, you know? And so now it opens up into PowerPoint, which is really cool. So I really like that about it, and I'd like to get your impression. What do you think about that, everybody? Absolutely. Let's just talk about a couple more things, you guys, and I hope you don't mind me using that expression, you guys. It means the whole crowd, because there's such a diverse crowd that we have here. Let's change this back to here. And all I want to do is just talk about a couple things. For Surface Hub, now I want to talk about this, server, Internet of Things, and a little bit of a video. So we're almost done. All right, so the Surface Hub, as I mentioned, just needs a quick mention now to finish it up. 84-inch 4K display. And as a lot of you know now, TVs in 4K are the highest resolution you can get. Lots of sensors, lots of speakers, multiple sensor device, multiple microphones. Here we see a modern office using the Surface Hub. They're in a Skype session here, and they're doing some collaboration. And we'll just call it Design for the Modern Office or the Modern Classroom. All right. Now, the next major announcement I just want to talk about is Server 2016. For those of you who care about this, most of you, I'd say about 60% of the crowd listening right now don't really care about this, but that's fine. I just want to make a quick mention. Normally, servers and workstations are released at the same time. You know, Server 2012 and Windows 8, Server 2008 and Windows 7. You know, they're always released at the same time. Windows 10 is a radical departure from that. They don't even have those teams working together now. So Satya has put together the server team and the system center team. Those products work well together, watching over your network and server products. And now they'll work together on a release next year, you know, on Server 2016 in the spring. All right. And so that's a huge announcement, and it's a different way for the platforms to be working together. That way they can concentrate on Windows 10 and get it out to us right now. And that's what they're doing. And as you know, it's being released on July 29th. Nano Server is a version of Server 2016 that's a true, real core server product. Small footprint, fully functional. And the one I saw in a live session, the one I saw was 3 of these little small bricks, if we want to call them that. All 3 were running Hyper-V, so they were Hyper-V servers. For those of you who don't know what a core server is, it doesn't have a display or keyboard or anything, and it's just connected together. They call them core servers because they don't have a web interface. Or sorry, they don't have a GUI interface for you to work with, all right? So we manage them remotely, remote-based tools, remote web-based, and PowerShell, and it works with a number of solutions. Here's the point I want to make, though, is that Nano Server has a 93% smaller VHD size, virtual hard drive, 92% fewer critical updates, and 80% fewer required reboots. Part of that 80% comes from the 92% fewer critical bulletins. So a lot of IT people are excited about this, and we've been testing and playing, and this is Server 2016 core, a real core server now. So a lot of you will probably applaud that. There's not too many people in this room that are excited about that. But a lot of you would probably applaud that because we've been looking for a real core product for Windows for a long time. So that's it. Now, I want to mention the Internet of Things, and I've got a short video to finish up today. And the Internet of Things is something that's still very mystified for most people. And now when Microsoft's jumped into the middle of it, and they've been working for a few years on this now. But the whole idea here now, Steve Tex tells us from Microsoft, he's embracing the simple principle of helping the makers and device builders do more. The power of Universal Windows Platform, UWP, that we were just talking about, direct access to hardware, and the ability to manage the software running on the Raspberry Pi 2 devices. So that's the first one they're working on. There are 3 other brands of circuit boards that you can have in devices. In my example today, I'll give you an example of a robot that they're using with a Pi 2 device and Windows 10 for IoT. So that's what it's called. This flavor of Windows 10 is called Windows 10 for IoT. All right, and that's what that is. So here's an example of it. And if you look at the slide deck later, you'll see some examples here. Gathering tons of data from sensors on all their trucks dispersed throughout the world, gathering it all together to look at performance and maintenance data. Same with elevators, cloud-connected elevators, meaning they all talk to a common ground somewhere, and all the sensors from those elevators give them an idea of wear and tear and maintenance and things like that. And they give us better insight and more responsive actions. Third example here is a Raspberry Pi 2 circuit board sitting in here. And that Raspberry Pi 2, I'm going to show you a video right now. This is a robot that's going to be controlled not only by Windows 10 for IoT, but it's also going to be used with HoloLens, which is the VR headset from Microsoft, which is really cool and very exciting. So that's what I'd like to show you next. So this VR headset that you see here, you can see it right here with the visor on it. That's what you would wear to see what we're seeing. Okay, and up here you see this is a virtual reality environment where they're taking the physical robot and they're putting a VR generated robot on top of it. This is actually very cool. I want to show you this just to give you an idea of Windows 10 for IoT in action. And there's the link there that we can, maybe I can send that link to you. Let me just pick that up. I'll send that link to you in the chat window, all right? So I'll just copy that. Okay, so very impressive here. So let's go take a look at this video. I've got it sitting here, probably ready to go right here.
Please help me welcome on stage my very good friend, Miko.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, Miko.
I'd like you to meet B15. This year, millions of people will use maker kits like this one to enter robot competitions and learn about electronics. Many of them will use Raspberry Pi 2, which now supports Windows 10 IoT Core. We were inspired to see what we could do with the same hardware and HoloLens. So let me show you. B15, wake up. Say hello to the real B15. Because every Windows 10 device has APIs for human and environment understanding. We were able to overlay a holographic robot on top of a physical one. And one thing we noticed while working is, you need your data to be easily accessible. But adding displays to this frame increases your cost and there's no way to see all that
Now
information
take a look at her,
at
sorry to
once.
interrupt, take a look at her VR headset right here. This is HoloLens from Microsoft. She's using that to project this image on top of the robot. You know, and I'm not going to go too much further in the video. Let me just take you to the interface where she's showing you stuff, and then we'll stop there, and you can watch it later. But just watch what she does as she uses the control panel to even change the colors on him or something like that.
So let me show you how we check on our data. B15 control panel. This spatial UI system is a universal Windows app. I'm pulling the data from B15, making it as big as I need it to be, and placing it where it's relevant in my world.
And I love it that Miko didn't have to actually go back to her desk to do it. This is a great example of how Windows 10 makes your digital life more powerful by connecting it with your real life.
That's right. You can waste a lot of time tweaking variables on another device before you test. But if all I need to do is something simple like change LED color, I can use a control scheme like this. So that's how we envision controls and displays evolving with holograms.
Now, so many industrial robots need to find paths safely through their workspaces. Let's take a look at how Miko can.
So I really like that. I can't keep going for this session, but you get the idea behind it. I mean, that's just amazing stuff. Stuff we only saw in the movies before, and now here it is in front of us. And you and I can make this happen. We can grab a circuit board like this, and I should have transitioned back to the camera, you guys, but you know, we can take a circuit board like this, you know, the Pi circuit board, and I got a couple of these for experimentation, and USB ports and normal ports and HDMI, and it's got everything for a computer, $35 computer. Put that into a robot, make stuff like that happen is amazing. It's Windows 10, and this is the kind of stuff that I get excited about. So I'm glad to have been helping you with this, give you an idea, the curiosity maybe that you had that brought you to this session. But you can see that it touches so many things, so many devices, so many, you know, even down to circuit boards on other things. Who would ever thought that robot traveling across the floor is actually powered by Windows 10? It's touching a lot of things, and it's robust, and it's the best of all three worlds. And I hope that you join me in the excitement and all of that. So thank you very much. It's been an honor, and hopefully you can pick this up as a recording later in case you want to review some of that. But get your own copy of Windows 10 and start playing the same thing as I have. Thank you very much, everybody.